Today, we're diving into a story that sits at the very heart of modern medicine, but it's also at the center of some of the most profound ethical questions we've ever faced. It's a story about scientific miracles, a hidden history, and a single line of cells that, no exaggeration, changed the world.
So, let's start with one of the most important tools in all of science, a tool that most of us have never even heard of. We're talking about a line of human cells that has been a silent partner in decades of medical breakthroughs, impacting nearly every single one of us.
To give you a sense of just how big their impact is, look at this number, 300. What is that? That's how many new scientific studies are published every single month using these cells. This isn't just about medical history. This is science happening right now as we speak.
And their contribution is just fundamental. They were absolutely essential in developing the polio vaccine that protected generations. They helped us map our entire genetic code, and they've been critical to understanding viruses like HPV and HIV. Now, notice the word here, immortal. This is the key. These are known as HeLa cells, and before they came along, scientists struggled to keep human cells alive in a lab for more than a few days. But these cells, they could divide and reproduce indefinitely. It was a biological breakthrough that was totally unheard of.
And this is where the whole scientific story becomes a deeply human one. See, the name HeLa is an abbreviation taken from the first two letters of a first and a last name. So the really important question is, who was the person behind the scientific revolution?
Okay, so this is where the story takes a critical turn. We have to talk about the woman behind the cells. A woman whose contribution wasn't given, it was taken, completely without her knowledge or her consent. This is the person at the heart of our story. She wasn't a famous scientist or some wealthy donor. Her name was Henrietta Lacks. She was a young, black tobacco farmer and a mother of 5 who, back in 1951, went to Johns Hopkins Hospital for treatment and unknowingly gave an extraordinary, immortal gift to science. And the way it happened was, tragically, just common practice at the time. When doctors took a biopsy of her tumor, they sent a sample to a research lab. They didn't ask her. It was legal. There was no requirement for consent. Henrietta Lacks passed away later that year at just 31 years old, with no idea that a part of her was not only still alive, but was on its way to becoming a cornerstone of medicine. And this brings us right to the central, really painful conflict of this whole story. On one hand, you have this incredible, unprecedented scientific progress, and on the other, you have a profound personal and family cost.
This created this huge disparity. You see, on one side, HeLa cells fueled a multi-billion-dollar industry. They were commercialized, bought, and sold all around the world. But on the other side, Henrietta's own family, her kids and her grandkids, lived for decades without even knowing this was happening, all while struggling just to afford basic health insurance.
This quote just says it all. It frames how this isn't just about one woman. It's tied into the dark history of medical experimentation on African Americans, the actual birth of what we now call bioethics, and these massive legal battles over a fundamental question. Do we control the stuff we're made of? Can you even imagine that? Really, try to picture it. You find out more than 2 decades after your mother died that a piece of her is still alive and it's been commercialized and sent all over the globe, and nobody ever told you. But the story of injustice doesn't just end there. In the last couple of decades, the narrative has really started to shift. The Lacks family themselves are taking an active, powerful role in shaping their own legacy. A major turning point came in 2013, but it actually started with another violation. Scientists published the full genome sequence of the HeLa cells online for anyone to see. This wasn't just about Henrietta's privacy anymore. It exposed private genetic information about her living descendants. And once again, it was done without their consent or even letting them know. So that incident led to this landmark agreement with the National Institutes of Health. For the very first time, it gave the Lacks family a literal seat at the table. Now, a committee that includes members of the Lacks family reviews applications from researchers who want to use the HeLa genome. It gives them a voice and makes sure Henrietta's contribution is finally formally acknowledged. And that fight for recognition and justice is still going on. The family has taken legal action against companies that have profited from using HeLa cells without permission, and they've successfully reached settlements setting new precedents for the future. So we're left with this. Henrietta Lacks' story forced a revolution in medical ethics and patient consent. But her legacy poses a question that is more relevant today than ever before. In an age where companies sequence our DNA and our data is the new currency, who really gets to control and profit from the biological material that makes us who we are?